Our painting this time that I'm going to be doing for you is going to be a fall colors, and I love this combination of oranges and yellows and slightly browny yellows and oranges and then little pops of blue. Um, and then of course the blue playing against this in the sky. So it's going to be 3/4 yellows and oranges, and then little pieces of green, little pieces of blue to offset that. And how I want to start with this is to actually do just a wet and wet abstract color combination on the page, and then we'll build it from there. Now, when we did the black and white version of this, it was felt that this tree was a little too close to the center of the picture, and but I liked the light of this. I liked the light of that. The figures felt like they could be a little bit bigger. We took all the cars out. I've left a few of those buildings in there. So anyway, when I did the drawing, so this nice light and dark pattern, that dark tree, the beautiful light coming across through here, that light and mid-tones. I think the light and dark pattern worked really well in there. And so the drawing, once I've got this drawing done, I moved the tree over. This is midpoint here, so the tree's now a little off to the left of mid. I opened this walkway up a little bit and made the figures a little bigger, made a few more trees here but kept them over in that side, left a little bit more sky than was in the photograph, but maybe not quite as much as what was in my black and white. Interesting branches here that I want to maintain, but they're going to be dark against a light background. I can ignore them to start with, but these light trunks we need to maintain and play with those as we build this out. So I have to be a little bit careful not to lose them. All right, so is on the page. I need to bring this tree up just a little bit because we're having to mask off the edge of my pad to keep it from coming apart. So that tree is going to have to come up just a little bit, and I need to remember that when I go to do it. And actually, we can do this. Let me just tell myself a little line up above here. And then that just becomes some ground and things like that that are running through there. There, that helps. And bottom of this tree. Okay. We're going to have various things there. All right. Now, colors to mix up for this. Let me get this out of the way so I can see my colors. I will pull this in and it'll be part of the video, but my colors in here, I love this range, and what we have to think about is, can we do any of the blues at the same time, because they're opposite and they're going to turn things brown. So this would not be as bright of an orange if I have the blue coming into there. So I have a feeling what I'm going to need to do is not put the blues up in here. Perhaps they can drop down in here when I put it together. Some of these are already turning gray, but there's some little pieces of blue that I might be able to pop in when I do that first splash of color on here, because I'm going to do an undercoat in here that's going to pick up these beautiful oranges and yellows and orangey browns, and then I'm going to have to pick out some of those trees. I don't think I want to mask anything out. I think I want to, those figures, should I mask the figures? Oh, they're light in there. Maybe they should be masked. I could mask out those figures. That might be a good idea. Let me do that. I'll just mask those figures. It's the only thing I'm going to mask. Everything else, I believe, unless I want to do some of these tree trunks masked out. Could mask that tree trunk as well. Though that one stays light, these stay light. None of this has to stay light. Those stay light. Okay, let's just get my masking fluid. When I was first looking at this, I was thinking that rather than masking, I would lift out with a tissue, but the figures in particular I think might be easier to be masked. So the nice thing about using this crochet hook is that I can get really fine thin lines with it. And these figures are pretty small. But I have to be accurate or don't bother. And it maybe needs a little more weight in the legs there. Let's bring them down just a little further, okay. And his buddy, this was a couple of teenage boys, but I don't think it's going to look like teenage boys by the time I'm done here. Careful not to have too much on there because I'm going into skinny part of the legs. On that head. Take that head up just a wee touch more and shoulders up a little more. Okay, I think that's good. Now, did we want to do anything with these other trees? I still think that lifting them out might be the better way, unless I wanted some thin lines up in here. You can do some beautiful bits with this, drawing it like this. Feeling a little more organic when I do it this way. Just sort of dropping a blob and then pulling branches off of it. These birch trees, probably birches. Looking at my photograph, seeing where things are. And they can have some little dark lines left here and there across it. Sort of like we're doing a little negative painting here. Take that piece up. at the bottom, just a little angle out, just a tiny bit. Don't like that one straight coming out of there. Okay, I think that's going to do that. Now for this one over here. One advantage of putting this masking fluid on is it will take that dark line that my transfer paper left on the page off when I lift it. It makes the best erasure. Okay. One quick little thing here. I dumped some of the resist onto this page here, the masking fluid, and you can tell whether it's dry by, it's dry here where it's translucent, transparent, and where it's still opaque, it's not dry yet. So it's just a little heads up. Probably already knew it. So anyway, now back to our picture. I am looking at this, deciding how I'm going to approach this. We have two opposite colors here. We have orange and blue. You put the two together and you get a brown. So we're actually going to want a little bit of blue in these darker areas of these trees to make them a little more brown, to make them a little bit darker. But we've got a bunch of sky holes in here, which I really like, and I don't think I want to lose. There's some little sky holes here and there where some blue is showing through here. This area is darker and it could have blue in underneath of it. So what I think I'm going to do, what I've decided, is that I'm going to wet these trees, this tree, and all the way down to the bottom. And then I will not, this orange tree, I'll paint it later because I want to paint the blue sky into there first. Take my tissue, lift all of this out, most of it, leaving some of those blue sky holes. So I think that's going to be a way that I'm going to be able to manage to do that. I'm also going to want some blues down in here, so we'll see. I may be able to drop some blue into this as I paint, because I'm just going to be doing a loose color wash of all these colors to start with. So what I need to do is mix up a big pile of New Gamboge yellow because that's what our main tree is going to be. It's a beautiful warm yellow. I'm seeing the side tree. I think I might go into my quinacridone gold for that. The birch trees, and they may still need a little bit of brown. I need a big pile of this. Now, yellow is going to be something that we're going to start a little bit lighter with it, and then thin it down or put darker pieces in after we've done the light, because if you get it too dark, it is going to look too heavy. But you have to get it dark enough to get the color. So it's sort of this cross. Yeah, this is going to be a really nice color to go off onto that birch tree. Nice, I like that. And now for an orange. Now I have a gorgeous orange in my pan. Orange yellow, I believe it's Holbein, but it's a beautiful orange to start with. And then we can add red or vermilion to it to get those darker colors. So that's going to be a good base. All right. And then since everything's going to have a little touch of yellow in it anyway, the fact that my water is dirtied with yellow is not a big... Okay, so we're not going to paint that tree. This is all going to stay dry. We're going to leave a little dry corner up in there, and everything else is going to be painted. Okay. Just reminding myself what I need to do, because it's so easy. You get going on this and you get all excited about it, and pretty soon you've forgotten what you were leaving out. There's going to be some areas. This is the other thing that we have to pay attention to when we're doing this first layer, is that, remember, we've got this line of sunlight that's going to be coming through here, hitting those figures, running through there, getting onto that grass, that hit those bushes there, and this is going to come a little uneven up into that. So just sort of trying to do a little uneven with this as it hits that next space up there. And don't forget, Margaret, you got a triangle of blue you want to leave behind there. And everything else is getting wet all the way down to the bottom. And oh, I got some, oh no, Mr. Bear. I put some new, well, you know, that's going to have blue down in here anyway. I'm not going to get, Margaret, but don't get too worried about this. I just put some brand new ultramarine blue in my pan, and it was a little bit high in the dish. I got it all over my sleeve, and now we have it in the painting down here. But we're going to have blue down in here anyway, so I am not going to get too fussed. Let's just work it in, let it be there. All right. Now, if I got everything, let's go back and double check. And there's another hole. These guys. Oh, I didn't get this up to here. Or I didn't get wet enough because it's drying already. We're just getting that uneven up onto there, weren't we? Okay, trying to get any excess puddles off of here. Get this. I always seem to have a little bit of a mess. Oh, that's obviously not wet all the way down to there because I can see that color showing. All right. Now, let's see what we can do about getting some beautiful splashes of color into here. And this is not even in here. It's an uneven. So just dropping it in with little brush marks to show that unevenness is a good thing. And, you know, so then it can allow some little lights to come through. Isn't that pretty yellow? Yellow is a hard color. Now, this tree here is going to have, well, let's just start with this orangier color. And then I'm going to drop some reds and greens into there. And you know, we need to already, we've got some vermilion. Let's do, yeah. Okay, beautiful. Just not all over, but in it so that it can sort of blend into there. And come out and find some spaces at that edge. And ooh, let's do that with the yellow too. Let's find some spaces at the edge of this yellow so that it feels like those leaves on the edge of that. So that'll be a hard edge there because it's dry there. And then we have the quinacridone gold underneath of this other tree here. And it's going to intersect onto that just a wee touch. Oh, and it's got to leave some sky holes. So leave some white behind here and there, Margaret, for sky holes. Remember that. And up into that tree just a little bit. We're going to have some more oranges, beautiful oranges in underneath of here. Working across. These tree trunks are going to go dark, so I can just paint right across them. And don't forget that there's leaves on the sidewalk. I think I had some houses back here, but once again, we'll play with them later. That's a light colored house, so let's leave it, but underneath of here, yes, and we need to get some vermilion in underneath of here. And some of those rooftops are brown, so they can get orange on them as well. And now let's get a little bit of green. See if I can do this without screwing things up entirely. Just a little bit of green in here, and hopefully that green will push away. And this bush, remember, it was going to be light but green. And yes, there's some green branches in underneath of here. And down in here we have some greens and that real yellow green. And then let's see if I can get a little bit of turquoisey blue in here without it looking totally weird. Oh, this can go a little more of that other blue. So that shadow area. And then a little turquoise back in here. Of course, it's going to go darker behind our figures. So I can drop a little of that turquoisey blue in top of here just to get some darker back there. But right in front of them, I'm going to get a very slightly damp, mostly dry brush, and let's pick off this light area right in front of them. And this is going to go light underneath of there. This is light all the way across through here. And it's all dark. The tree could have a little lightness in it. Maybe this tree. Okay. Oops, ultramarine blue. I'm going to just drop a little more of that with some burnt sienna. Let's just mix it right here on this page. Ah, yes. It's dark between these trees. And I'm going to put it right onto those trees because they need some dark spots in them. This area up in here has got some sort of shadowy leaves. I'm only doing some of this back in here because I want to have a little softness in this area in the back. And now that this is drying just a little bit, I can get away with doing just a little bit of building work with this. Remember, we removed those cars, and so it's creating some situations here that maybe we don't know what to do with areas, but I'm just playing this and saying, that looks interesting, let me see what to do there. Sort of a soft thing of a tree back here, and those houses, okay. Some other things are going to come through here. Let's put another little bit of blue right back in there. Okay. Oh, and I think I could get away with doing a little bit of my ultramarine blue with cobalt. Let's just try this. Oh, it's a little too dark a blue. Okay, just lift it. Cobalt's going to be better. It's going to dry a little bit lighter, so I'm hoping, okay, let that be blue up there in that corner. Okay, I think I'm at the point where I'm going to start mucking it up if I'm not careful, although I do want to this feeling of the leaves falling down into the roadway, I think is really a cool thing. And having it sort of soft in among the other colors adds a nice touch to it. Ultramarine blue. That guy's going dark, so let's just let him be dark. Time to stop, Margaret? I think so. I think so. It's always, what can I do without messing things up? And I need to, I see something that I probably shouldn't have done. And here, I've got this, my little tissue here. This needs to stay light. It all needs to stay quite light. So that's the lightest bit. And you know, I'm actually in my drawing, I had some more light bits back here. And I like them. Let's just put some of those in. Just don't want hard lines in this guy, so I'm just easing that through there. Okay, and yeah, I'm going to leave it that darker behind the figures because, yeah, I do. That's good, that's good. All right, stop. This is as far as we're going to get today. And I can just pick off this little bit of paint here so that when we lift this, this paint doesn't get all over everything else again. I'm interested to see how that's going to end up.